All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever found yourself staring at some super dense report or a really complex article, just a mountain of data, and you're thinking, I know there's gold in here, but how on earth do I even start? Well, that's exactly what we're tackling today. We're going to break down how you can take the most boring, complicated information and turn it into content that people actually love and that actually makes you money. So, let's do this.
But hang on, before we get into the how, I want you to just burn this one date into your mind. January 2026. What is it? A deadline? A crazy prediction? You know what, let's just call it a tipping point. It represents a very near future where the skill we're about to unpack isn't just a nice to have. It's the thing that's going to separate the creators who absolutely crush it from those who just kind of fade away. Stick with me, it's all going to make sense.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about that January 2026 challenge. Then, we're going to decode a super powerful creator's prompt that honestly holds the entire solution. From there, we'll build out our monetization toolkit piece by piece. And finally, we'll lay out a step-by-step plan to turn one single report into a full week of revenue.
So what is this big challenge, really? Look, it's way deeper than just there's too much information. We're now in an age of basically infinite content, right? AI can spit out articles, summaries, and posts in seconds. So the new game isn't about creating more, it's about creating meaning. Our job is shifting. We're no longer just a source of information. We have to become translators of value. And that is the skill that's going to define success in 2026 and beyond.
And that right there brings us to the million-dollar question. How do you take something that's famously dry, like a corporate annual report, and make it not just interesting, but actually profitable? This isn't just some thought experiment. It's a real, practical problem. And once you solve it, you have a massive advantage in a world where everyone's starting to sound the same. The answer, it turns out, is hiding in one brilliant instruction.
Let's see how this all connects. We're about to look at what I like to call the secret recipe. It's a prompt originally written in Arabic that contains a complete, powerful strategy for making money with your content. Seriously, it's more than just an instruction. It's a whole framework for thinking like a top-tier creator. Okay, so here it is in its original form. Now don't worry if you can't read Arabic, that's totally fine. The magic here isn't the language itself, it's the precision of the commands. It's not just asking for a summary, it's literally giving you the source code for a strategic campaign. Let's break down what it actually says.
And here it is, the decoded strategy. Just look at how every single word is an action. It doesn't just say post, it says an interactive post. It doesn't say use some tags, it says include high-value keywords for creator revenue. And it doesn't say share the main points, it says convert the report into daily posts for a whole week. This isn't just a prompt, it's a business plan in 2 sentences.
So the most important thing here is to really understand the tools this prompt is handing us. Let's break down those 2 key phrases, high-value keywords and interactive content, because these are, without a doubt, the most powerful ingredients for our success.
First up, high-value keywords. What does that actually mean? Look, these are not just popular trendy hashtags. They are very specific terms that send a signal to the platform's algorithm saying, hey, my content is about topics advertisers are actively spending money on. Think of things like AI in healthcare or EV battery technology, not just a generic tag like #tech. They attract a way more valuable audience and basically turn your content into a magnet for monetization.
Next up, interactive content. The algorithm, you see, it doesn't just care about views, it cares about engagement. It cares about what people do. Interactive content is your direct line to boosting those signals. When you ask questions, run polls, and get your audience talking back to you, you're telling the platform, hey, people are stopping and talking here. This builds a super loyal community and, you guessed it, dramatically increases your organic reach.
And this just shows the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got a passive statement. Yeah, it's informative, but it's a dead end for conversation. On the right, it's an invitation. It's the same exact information, but it's been turned into a dialogue. Now, which one do you think gets more comments, more shares, and a huge boost from the algorithm? It's such a simple switch, but it literally changes the entire game.
Okay, now we get to the final and maybe the most powerful piece of that original prompt. Convert the report into daily posts for a week. This is where we take the strategy and turn it into a practical, repeatable game plan that you can use over and over again.
So here's the plan. First, you break that report down into, say, 5 to 7 core ideas or surprising facts. For each of those ideas, you find the high-value keywords we just talked about. Then, you create a unique interactive question for each day of the week.
schedule them out, and then, and this is so important, you have to commit to engaging with every single comment. This creates this powerful flywheel of conversation.
So why is this strategy so darn effective? Well, you're no longer just a content creator, you're a content strategist. You're squeezing every drop of value out of a single piece of research. You're training your audience to come back every day. You're constantly feeding the algorithm with positive engagement signals, and you're building your authority, all while keeping your revenue goals right at the center of it all.
And that brings us all the way back to our tipping point, January 2026. It represents that moment when just creating content becomes cheap, easy, a commodity. The creators who are going to win are not going to be the ones who can produce the most stuff, but the ones who have mastered this exact skill, translating complex information into real, tangible value for their audience and for their business. It is the ultimate human advantage.
So I'll leave you with this question. Just think about your niche, your industry. Is there a study, a report, a pile of data that everyone else is ignoring because it's too complicated or too boring? That right there, that's your gold mine. So what complex piece of information are you going to transform into valuable, engaging, and profitable content starting today?